Hi everyone, my name is Beth. I'm a librarian at the Weinberg Library in Mequon, and it's time for another session of Slice and Share. This month's theme is cupcakes, so I'm going to show you how to make Portillo style chocolate cupcakes. Portillo's is a restaurant founded in Chicago, pretty much an Illinois thing, but there's a couple of places in Wisconsin. They serve hot dogs and Italian beef sandwiches and things like that, and they serve really, really good chocolate cake. A couple years back, my sister asked me if I could figure out how to make that cake for her birthday. And luckily I was able to find the recipe on the blog Smashed Peas and Carrots, which I've adapted a little bit for this purpose. That recipe is in the description below, so please take a look at it if you're interested. For my batter, I'm going to combine my ingredients using a KitchenAid stand mixer with the beater. If you don't have a stand mixer, a hand mixer should work just fine. What I need is 1 box of Devil's Food Betty Crocker cake mix, 1 cup of ice cold water. I usually put the water in the freezer for a few minutes while I get everything else ready, 3 eggs, and the secret ingredient, 1 cup of mayonnaise, which sounds weird, but tastes really good. So, in goes my Betty Crocker cake mix, my cup of water, my eggs, and finally my mayonnaise. Now I'm going to put on my beater attachment, set that down, lock it, and I'm going to start this on the lowest possible setting so I don't fling cake batter everywhere. And I'm going to work my way up to medium as it comes together. So this looks pretty much like what I want. It's a nice thin cake batter. I'm just going to stir it around and make sure there's no hidden pockets of dry stuff on the bottom, but we're looking pretty good. So I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to portion this out into a cupcake tin that I've already prepared, and I'm going to bake them for 15 minutes at first, check to see if they're done, and then probably go another 15 minutes. When I've made this before, I've made it in cake pans, and that usually takes the full 30 minutes, but with cupcakes, I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out. So I want to keep an eye on them, make sure they don't overcook. I'll get these into the cupcake pan, put them in the oven, and check back in with you in a moment. So now that my cupcakes are baking, I am going to switch gears and get the frosting ready, and it's really, really easy. I have 1 can of Betty Crocker creamy chocolate frosting and 1 can of Duncan Hines creamy chocolate frosting. I'm going to combine them in my stand mixer and blend them together until they're smooth. And then when the cupcakes come out and cool, we'll be ready to frost them. So here is 1 can. This is the Duncan Hines. What I like about combining these is that their flavor is pretty similar, but the Duncan Hines is just a little bit creamier than the Betty Crocker. So you really get that moist, loose frosting like they have at Portillo's. And now the Betty Crocker. Now I'm using the plain chocolate frosting, just the regular old, it says chocolate on the can, but if you want to use milk, I imagine that would be fine. I would not use dark. I think that would get a little too bitter, but all right. So now I'm going to beat this together on low. It only takes a few seconds. Scrape this off. Then I'll just scrape the sides of the bowl down, make sure they're nice and combined, which they are. So that's my frosting, and now I'm going to set this aside until we are ready to frost. Okay, I'm glad I checked them at 15 minutes because they are in fact done. So this is my first round. I will let these sit in the pan for the next 5 minutes or so to cool off a little bit, decant them onto a wire rack, make the next batch because I only own 1 cupcake tin. And then once they're cool, which should take a couple hours, I will frost them. I will check back in with you once I'm all done frosting and we'll see the final result. And that's it. They're cupcakes. When it comes to the frosting, I would say put as much frosting on each cupcake as you can because the moisture of the frosting is going to soak into the cake and keep them nice and rich. It's a lot of frosting, I get that, but I promise it makes them better. There's no shame in eating them with a fork on a plate rather than trying to eat them without making a huge mess. Again, the recipe is in the description below. If you have your own recipe for cupcakes, you can feel free to share them either on the Facebook post for this video or in the comments below this video. I will see you right back here again on August 8th. I will be making mushrooms and black-eyed peas in the Instant Pot. See you then.